Things are heating up in the United States with the 59th presidential election happening in November 2020 amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Even though it is the most hard-hit country in the world and the presidential candidate Donald Trump himself was infected with the virus, things didn't slow down and the election campaigns continued in all the 50 states and was able to pull and attract the crowds. But for many outsiders, many general questions about these elections and US government setup arise. Let's try to find out those answers here, but before that, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon if you haven't done already, so that you won't miss more interesting videos in the future. Also, do not miss the fact of the day at the end of this video. Without any further delay, let's start today's episode. Hello aspiring Sarvagnanis. Welcome to my channel. This video explains about the brief history of US politics, its government setup, and the presidential election process. Before we learn about the political system, let's take a look at the brief history of US politics. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress declared independence from the Great Britain. The Constitution, which is the supreme law of the United States of America, was first adopted by the Constitutional Convention on September 17, 1787. American politician and soldier George Washington became the first president of the United States in 1789, serving 2 terms. Today, America is a multi-party system. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party are the most powerful. Yet other parties such as the Reform, Libertarian, Socialist, Natural Law, Constitution, and Green parties can promote candidates in a presidential election. The modern-day Democratic Party was founded around 1828 by supporters of Andrew Jackson, making it the world's oldest active political party. Andrew Jackson was the first Democratic president and the 7th president of the United States overall. Franklin D. Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama are some other popular Democratic presidents. The Republican Party, also referred to as the GOP, Grand Old Party, was founded in 1854 by opponents of the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president and the 16th president of the United States overall. Theodore Roosevelt, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump are some of the famous Republican presidents. There have been 19 Republican presidents, which is the most from any one political party. Now let's discuss about the federal or national government of the US. The United States government is based on the principles of federalism and republicanism, in which power is shared between the federal government and state governments. The Constitution of the United States divides the federal government into 3 branches to make sure no individual or group will have too much power. This is called the system of checks and balances, as each branch has the ability to respond to the actions of the other branches. These 3 distinct branches include legislative, executive, and judicial, whose powers are vested by the US Constitution in the Congress, the President, and the federal courts respectively. The legislative branch consists of the House of Representatives and the Senate, which together form the United States Congress. The Constitution grants Congress the sole authority to enact legislation and declare war, the right to confirm or reject many presidential appointments, and substantial investigative powers. The House of Representatives is made up of 435 elected members divided among the 50 states in proportion to their total population. In addition, there are 6 non-voting members representing the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and 4 other territories of the United States. The presiding officer of the chamber is the Speaker of the House, elected by the representatives. He or she is third in the line of succession to the presidency. Members of the House are elected every 2 years and must be 25 years of age, a US citizen for at least 7 years, and a resident of the state they represent. The Senate is composed of 100 senators, 2 for each state. Until the ratification of the 17th Amendment in 1913, senators were chosen by state legislatures, not by popular vote. Since then, they have been elected to 6-year terms by the people of each state. Senators' terms are staggered so that about 1/3 of the Senate is up for re-election every 2 years. Senators must be 30 years of age, US citizens for at least 9 years, and residents of the state they represent. In order to pass legislation and send it to the president for his signature, both the House and the Senate must pass the same bill by majority vote. If the president vetoes a bill, they may override his veto by passing the bill again in each chamber with at least 2/3 of each body voting in favor. The executive branch carries out and enforces laws. It includes the president, vice president, the cabinet, executive departments, independent agencies, and other boards, commissions, and committees. American citizens have the right to vote for the president and vice president through free, confidential ballots. The president is both the head of state and head of government of the United States of America and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He is also responsible for the execution and enforcement of the laws created by Congress. 15 executive departments, each led by an appointed member of the president's cabinet, carry out the day-to-day administration of the federal government. The president also appoints the heads of more than 50 independent federal commissions, such as the Federal Reserve Board or the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as federal judges, ambassadors, and other federal offices. The president has the power either to sign legislation into law or to veto bills enacted by Congress, although Congress may override a veto with a 2/3 vote of both houses. The president also has unlimited power to extend pardons and clemencies for federal crimes except in cases of impeachment. The president serves a 4-year term and can be elected no more than 2 times. By tradition, the president and the first family live in the White House in Washington, D.C., which is also the location of the president's Oval Office and the offices of his senior staff. The vice president supports the president. If the president is unable to serve, the vice president becomes president. The vice president can be elected and serve an unlimited number of 4-year terms, even under a different president. The vice president also serves as the president of the United States Senate, where he or she casts the deciding vote in the case of a tie. The vice president has an office in the west wing of the White House, as well as in the nearby Eisenhower Executive Office building. Like the president, he also maintains an official residence at the United States Naval Observatory in Northwest Washington, D.C. The cabinet is an advisory body made up of the heads of the 15 executive departments. It is appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. After the president, the vice president, speaker of the House, and Senate president pro tempore, the line of succession continues with the cabinet offices in the order in which the departments were created. All the members of the cabinet take the title secretary, excepting the head of the Justice Department, who is styled Attorney General. The judicial branch interprets the meaning of laws, applies laws to individual cases, and decides if laws violate the Constitution. It is comprised of the Supreme Court and other federal courts. The members of the judicial branch are appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. The Supreme Court of the United States is the highest court in the land and the only part of the federal judiciary specifically required by the Constitution. The Constitution does not stipulate the number of Supreme Court justices. The number is set instead by Congress. There have been as few as 6, but since 1869, there have been 9 justices, including 1 Chief Justice. All justices are nominated by the President, confirmed by the Senate, and hold their offices under life tenure. Since justices do not have to run or campaign for re-election, they are thought to be insulated from political pressure when deciding cases. Justices may remain in office until they resign, pass away, or are impeached and convicted by Congress. The Constitution gives Congress the authority to establish other federal courts to handle cases that involve federal laws including tax and bankruptcy, lawsuits involving US and state governments or the Constitution, and more. Other federal judicial agencies and programs support the courts and research judicial policy. Now let's briefly take a look at the state governments. Powers not granted to the federal government are reserved for state and local governments. Police departments, libraries, schools, driver's license, and parking tickets usually fall under the oversight of state and local governments. Each state has its own written constitution, and these documents are often far more elaborate than their federal counterpart. All state governments are modeled after the federal government and consist of 3 branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. The US Constitution mandates that all states uphold a republican republican form of government, although the three-branch structure is not required. In every state, the executive branch is headed by a governor who is directly elected by the people. No two state executive organizations are identical. All 50 states have legislatures made up of elected representatives who consider matters brought forth by the governor or introduced by its members to create legislation that becomes law. The legislature also approves a state's budget and initiates tax legislation and articles of impeachment. State judicial branches are usually led by the state Supreme Court, which hears appeals from lower level state courts. Court structures and judicial appointments and elections are determined either by legislation or the state constitution. Local governments generally include two tiers: counties, also known as boroughs in Alaska, and parishes in Louisiana, and municipalities or towns and cities. In some states, counties are divided into townships. In general, mayors, city councils, and other governing bodies are directly elected by the people. As we understood about different forms of government in the US, let's take a look at the presidential election process now. An election for President of the United States happens every 4 years on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. According to the US Constitution, the presidential candidate should be at least 35 years old, a natural-born citizen of the United States, and a resident of the United States for 14 years. The entire process of becoming the President of the United States can be divided into 4 steps. Step 1. Primaries and caucuses. Primary elections and caucuses are a process by which voters can indicate their preference for their party's candidate or a candidate in general in an upcoming general election. In a caucus, party members select the best candidate through a series of discussions and votes. In a primary, party members vote for the best candidate that will represent them in the general election. Step 2. National conventions. Each party holds a national convention to finalize the selection of one presidential nominee. At each convention, the presidential candidate chooses a vice presidential candidate. Step 3. General election. The presidential candidates campaign throughout the country in an attempt to win the support of the general population. People in every state across the country vote for one president and one vice president. When people cast their vote, they are not directly voting for the president or the vice president. Instead, they are actually voting for a group of people known as electors. Step 4. Electoral College. In the Electoral College system, each state gets a certain number of electors based on its total number of representatives in Congress. Each elector casts one electoral vote following the general election. There are a total of 538 electoral votes. The candidate that gets more than half wins the election. This is how the president is indirectly elected by the people, as the people vote for the electors and the electors vote for the president and the vice president. The president-elect and vice president-elect take the oath of office and are inaugurated in January. The typical periods of the presidential election process are as follows. During the spring of the year before an election, candidates announce their intentions to run and file their statement of candidacy with the Federal Election Commission. During the summer of the year before an election through spring of the election year, primary and caucus debates happen. Primaries and caucuses happen from January to June of election year. Nominating conventions happen from July to early September. Presidential election debates happen during September and October. Election day will be generally the first Tuesday of November. Electors cast their electoral votes in December. Congress counts and certifies the electoral votes during early January of the next calendar year. The new president is inaugurated on Jan 20th of the next calendar year. And this concludes our discussion on the brief history of US politics, its government setup, and the presidential election process. How did you guys like it? If you guys learned something new, please hit a like and share it with your friends and family. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a video on any other interesting topic. And now the fact of the day. Voting in space has been possible since 1997 when a bill passed to legally allow voting from space in Texas. Since then, several NASA astronauts have exercised this civic duty from orbit. 6 months before the elections, astronauts are provided with a standard form called the Voter Registration and Absentee Ballot Request Federal Postcard Application. A day before US Election Day, an encrypted electronic ballot is uplinked to the astronauts, who then use a set of unique credentials that are sent to them individually by email. In this way, they can access their ballots, and after casting their vote, they downlink them back to Earth to the county clerk's office.